Donald Trump was born on June 14, 1946, in Queens, New York City. His full name is Donald John Trump. Queens, a vibrant and diverse borough, was a fitting backdrop for Donald's childhood. Growing up in the Trump family meant being part of a world defined by ambition, business, and high expectations. His father, Fred Trump, was a highly successful real estate developer known for constructing affordable homes for working-class families. Fred's reputation was built on a foundation of hard work, meticulous attention to detail, and an unrelenting drive to succeed, qualities he would strive to instill in his children. Fred Trump's work ethic was legendary. He spent long hours supervising construction projects and managing properties, setting an example for his children about the importance of dedication and persistence. Donald, as one of the youngest members of the family, often accompanied his father to construction sites. These early experiences exposed him to the basics of the real estate business, watching buildings go up, understanding the value of materials, and learning the importance of precision and planning. Fred emphasized the importance of being hands-on, a lesson that would resonate with Donald throughout his life. Donald's mother, Mary Ann MacLeod Trump, was equally influential in his upbringing, but in a different way. Born in Scotland, Mary Ann brought a sense of tradition and warmth to the family. She was deeply rooted in her faith and community, traits that shaped the Trump household's dynamic. While Fred taught the children about business and ambition, Mary Ann instilled values of compassion, family, and culture. Her life story as an immigrant who built a new life in America inspired Donald and his siblings to appreciate the opportunities their family had. Donald's early education was typical for a boy growing up in Queens. He attended Kew Forest School, a private institution known for its academic rigor. As a student, Donald was bright, but also known for being assertive and competitive. Teachers and peers described him as confident, sometimes overly so, and his strong personality often led to confrontations. His assertiveness was both a strength and a challenge, a characteristic that defined him from an early age. Recognizing his son's potential, but also his need for discipline, Fred Trump made a bold decision. At the age of 13, Donald was sent to the New York Military Academy, NYMA, a boarding school known for its strict discipline and leadership training. This move marked a turning point in Donald's life, as it removed him from the comfort of his family home and placed him in an environment that demanded accountability and structure. Life at NYMA was vastly different from anything Donald had experienced before. The academy's daily schedule was rigorous, with early morning drills, academic classes, and physical training. The military-style environment emphasized responsibility, respect, and leadership. At first, Donald struggled to adapt to the discipline, but over time, he began to excel. He became a standout student, not just academically, but also in extracurricular activities. One area where Donald truly shone was sports. He was particularly skilled in baseball, earning accolades as a star player on the school's team. His competitive nature found a productive outlet on the field, where he was known for his determination and ability to rally his teammates. This success in sports helped him build confidence and earn the respect of his peers, laying the groundwork for his later ability to lead and inspire others. Donald's time at NYMA was not solely about discipline and academics. It was also a period of self-discovery. The Academy's emphasis on leadership roles allowed him to explore his ability to organize and influence people. He learned how to command attention and inspire confidence, traits that would become central to his identity. Whether on the sports field or in the classroom, Donald demonstrated a knack for thinking strategically and achieving his goals. While NYMA helped him channel his energy and ambition, it also fueled his desire to achieve greatness. He began to dream big, envisioning a future where he could make a significant impact. Observing his father's business success only reinforced these aspirations. He often thought about how he could expand on his father's legacy and create something even more remarkable. Yet, despite the lessons learned and the growth experienced at the military academy, Donald's journey was only beginning. As he prepared to leave NA and enter the world of higher education, he faced new opportunities and challenges that would test his resolve and shape his path. After completing his time at the New York Military Academy, Donald Trump took his first steps into higher education. In 1964, he enrolled at Fordham University, a private college located in New York City. Fordham provided Donald with a strong academic foundation, but he quickly realized he wanted to pursue a more prestigious education. 2 years later, in 1966, he transferred to the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania, one of the most renowned business schools in the United States. At Wharton, Donald studied economics, a subject that aligned perfectly with his interests in business and finance. The rigorous program at Wharton challenged him academically, but it also gave him a clearer vision of the path he wanted to take. Donald often spoke about how his time at Wharton reinforced his belief in the importance of thinking big and taking calculated risks. His professors described him as confident, driven, and eager to learn. During his college years, Donald remained closely connected to his father's business. On weekends and holidays, he worked at construction sites and learned firsthand about real estate development. These experiences were crucial in shaping his understanding of the industry. Fred Trump encouraged his son to observe every detail, from the design of buildings to the financial aspects of running a project. Donald took these lessons to heart, often bringing his own ideas and suggestions to the table. In 1968, Donald graduated from Wharton with a degree in economics. Armed with knowledge and a growing ambition, he was ready to take on the challenges of the business world. His graduation marked the beginning of a new chapter in his life, one where he would begin to step out of his father's shadow and build his own legacy. It was during this time that Donald began to show his flair for taking bold steps. Instead of simply joining his father's business, Donald wanted to expand its scope and take on larger, more ambitious projects. He believed in thinking beyond the limits of what had been done before and envisioned transforming the Trump Organization into a global brand. As Donald embarked on his journey into the world of real estate, he brought with him the discipline from his military academy days, the knowledge from his time at Wharton, and the lessons learned from his father's success. How would these elements come together as he faced the competitive and unpredictable world of real estate development? Before we dive into the next chapter, if you're enjoying this story, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. It's the best way to stay updated with more stories that help you practice your English and learn about fascinating lives. After graduating from the Wharton School in 1968, Donald Trump was ready to dive into the world of real estate. His first move was joining his father's business, the Trump Organization. which was already successful in developing affordable housing in New York City's outer boroughs. Fred Trump's projects focused on middle-class housing, and his model was efficient and reliable. But Donald saw an opportunity to take the business in a new direction. Donald's initial years at the Trump Organization were a time of learning and experimentation. He worked closely with his father, observing every detail of the company's operations. From negotiating contracts to overseeing construction sites, Donald quickly grasped the intricacies of the industry. However, his ambitions extended beyond the family business's traditional scope. He wanted to innovate, expand, and make a name for himself in Manhattan, a market filled with high stakes and opportunities for prestige. One of Donald's first significant projects was revitalizing the Commodore Hotel, located near Grand Central Terminal in Manhattan. The hotel, at the time, was struggling and losing money, but Donald saw its potential. Partnering with the Hyatt Corporation, he negotiated a complex deal that involved tax abatements and financial restructuring. Under Donald's vision, the Commodore Hotel was transformed into the luxurious Grand Hyatt Hotel, which opened in 1980. This success not only established Donald as a major player in Manhattan's real estate scene, but also signaled the beginning of a new chapter for the Trump Organization. Donald's strategy was bold. He aimed to create iconic properties that would stand out for their luxury and grandeur. He believed that the Trump name itself could become a brand synonymous with success and high standards. This approach led him to embark on ambitious projects like Trump Tower, a 58-story skyscraper in the heart of Manhattan. Built in 1983, Trump Tower became a symbol of his growing empire and set the stage for the expansive vision he had for his career. Throughout these early successes, Donald relied on the lessons he had learned from his father: the importance of understanding the market, negotiating effectively, and never giving up on a project, no matter how challenging. His work ethic and confidence were evident in every deal he made, and his name began to appear more frequently in the press, solidifying his status as a rising star in the real estate world. Before we continue exploring Donald's path to becoming one of the most recognized figures in business, take a moment to reflect on your own journey. Each story you hear here is a step toward your dream English. But imagine accelerating that process with something made just for you. The English Express is here to transform your learning. Click the link in the first pinned comment and start speaking English with confidence today. With the success of the Grand Hyatt Hotel and Trump Tower, Donald Trump's vision for creating an empire was becoming a reality. The 1980s marked a period of rapid expansion and bold ventures for Donald and the Trump Organization. His ambition was clear. He wanted to leave an indelible mark on New York City and beyond. This decade saw Donald focusing on high-profile projects that not only showcased his flair for business, but also his ability to captivate public attention. One of Donald's strategies was to invest in properties that had both symbolic and practical value. He understood that iconic buildings could elevate his brand and provide a platform for future ventures. Trump Tower, completed in 1983, was a prime example of this philosophy. Located on Fifth Avenue, it wasn't just a building. It was a statement. With its reflective glass exterior and luxurious interiors, Trump Tower became synonymous with wealth and success, attracting both residents and businesses eager to be associated with the Trump name. As Donald's reputation grew, so did his projects. He expanded into Atlantic City, a hub for casinos and entertainment. In the mid-1980s, he acquired several casino properties, including the Trump Plaza Hotel and Casino and, later, the Trump Taj Mahal. The Taj Mahal, opened in 1990, was marketed as the world's largest casino at the time, featuring opulent designs and grandeur that only Donald could envision. While the casinos represented a significant step in diversifying his portfolio, they also presented financial challenges that tested his resilience and business acumen. Donald's approach to branding became a central theme during this period. He understood the power of his name and made it a focal point of his projects. The Trump logo began appearing on buildings, hotels, and other properties, symbolizing luxury and exclusivity. This branding strategy extended beyond real estate as Donald sought to diversify his empire into other areas, including merchandise, books, and even television appearances. However, the 1980s weren't without difficulties. Some of Donald's ventures faced financial struggles, particularly in Atlantic City, where the casino industry was highly competitive and unpredictable. Despite setbacks, Donald displayed an unwavering determination to succeed. He often referred to challenges as opportunities to learn and grow, a mindset that carried him through difficult times. As Donald's influence grew, so did his presence in the media. He became a regular feature in newspapers and magazines, earning the nickname The Donald in popular culture. His larger-than-life persona, combined with his business successes, made him a celebrity in his own right. Interviews, public appearances, and even controversies kept him in the spotlight, ensuring that the Trump brand remained a topic of conversation. Donald's ambitions extended far beyond New York and Atlantic City. He began exploring opportunities internationally, eyeing projects in cities around the world. His vision for the Trump Organization was not just to dominate the U.S. market, but to become a global brand. By the end of the 1980s, Donald had laid the groundwork for an empire that would eventually span continents. What fueled Donald's relentless drive to expand his influence and take on increasingly ambitious projects? How would he navigate the challenges that came with building a global brand while maintaining his identity as one of the most recognizable figures in business? The answers lay in the years that followed, a time of both triumphs and trials for Donald Trump. The 1990s were a turning point in Donald Trump's life and career. While the 1980s had been marked by rapid expansion and high-profile successes, the new decade brought challenges that tested his resilience and determination. The real estate market experienced a downturn, and several of Donald's projects, particularly his casinos in Atlantic City, began to face financial difficulties. For someone who had built his reputation on success, these trials were both professional and personal. One of the most significant challenges came with the Trump Taj Mahal. Marketed as the largest casino in the world, it symbolized Donald's ambition and vision. However, the project had been expensive, and by the early 1990s, it struggled to generate the revenue needed to cover its debts. The financial strain extended beyond Atlantic City. Some of Donald's other properties, including the Plaza Hotel in New York, also faced difficulties as the economy slowed. To address these challenges, Donald took bold and sometimes controversial steps. He renegotiated loans with banks, convincing them to restructure his debts rather than force him into bankruptcy. Donald's ability to navigate these financial waters demonstrated his skill as a negotiator and his unwavering confidence in his ability to recover. Despite the setbacks, he remained focused on maintaining the Trump brand and reputation. The media closely followed Donald's financial troubles, often portraying him as a polarizing figure. Some viewed him as a symbol of excess and risk, while others admired his tenacity and refusal to give up. For Donald, these challenges were a chance to prove his resilience. He often described the period as a learning experience that shaped his approach to business and life. While his financial struggles made headlines, Donald also used the 1990s to diversify his career and explore new opportunities. He appeared in commercials, published books, and became a frequent guest on television shows. His larger-than-life personality continued to captivate audiences, keeping the Trump name in the public eye even during difficult times. By the late 1990s, Donald had begun to turn things around. He restructured his businesses, focusing on projects that aligned with his vision for luxury and exclusivity. He also started to rebuild his presence in Manhattan, where the Trump name remained a symbol of ambition and success. This period marked a transition for Donald as he prepared to take on new challenges in the years to come. If you're enjoying this journey through Donald Trump's life and want to keep learning while improving your English, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It's the perfect way to stay updated with more engaging stories like this one. As the 1990s came to an end, Donald Trump had successfully navigated the challenges of the decade and began rebuilding his empire. By focusing on his core strengths and leveraging his personal brand, Donald embarked on a new era of expansion. He understood that his name was more than just a signature. It was a symbol of luxury, success, and bold ambition. This realization drove him to explore opportunities beyond traditional real estate, transforming Trump into a globally recognized brand. One of the ways Donald expanded his influence was through licensing. Rather than directly managing every project, he allowed developers to use the Trump name in exchange for fees. This strategy enabled the Trump Organization to reach international markets without taking on the financial risks associated with ownership. Trump-branded properties began to appear in cities around the world, from Dubai to Vancouver, carrying the same air of opulence that had become synonymous with his name. In addition to licensing, Donald ventured into other industries. He opened high-end golf courses, invested in luxury hotels, and even explored the world of entertainment. His business interests became more diversified, reflecting his understanding of market trends and his willingness to take calculated risks. By the early 2000s, the Trump Organization was no longer just a real estate company. It had become a lifestyle brand. This period also marked Donald's rise as a media personality. His charisma and bold persona made him a natural fit for television. In 2004, Donald became the host of The Apprentice, a reality show where contestants competed for a chance to work for him. The show was an instant hit, attracting millions of viewers each week. Donald's signature line, "You're fired," became a cultural phenomenon, further solidifying his status as a household name. The success of The Apprentice introduced Donald to a broader audience, including younger generations who admired his confidence and entrepreneurial spirit. The show also provided a platform for Donald to showcase his business acumen and leadership style, albeit in a dramatized format. For Donald, The Apprentice was more than just entertainment. It was an extension of his brand, a way to connect with people and promote his vision of success. Despite his growing fame, Donald never lost sight of his core business. He continued to develop properties in prime locations, ensuring that the Trump name remained associated with luxury and exclusivity. His ability to balance his roles as a businessman, television star, and global brand ambassador, was a testament to his work ethic and determination. The Trump Organization's success during this time was not without controversy. Critics questioned the ethics of some of Donald's business practices, and lawsuits occasionally made headlines. However, Donald often dismissed these challenges as part of the cost of doing business at such a high level. For him, staying focused on the bigger picture was the key to overcoming obstacles and maintaining his trajectory. As Donald's profile grew, so did speculation about his future ambitions. Would he remain in the world of business, or was he destined to take his influence to another stage entirely? The seeds of a new chapter were beginning to sprout, one that would take Donald Trump beyond the boardroom and into an entirely different realm of power and responsibility. As Donald Trump's business empire and media presence flourished, the idea of stepping into the political arena began to take shape. Though he had flirted with the concept in previous decades, occasionally hinting at presidential ambitions, these musings were often dismissed as publicity stunts or expressions of his confidence. However, as the 2000s progressed, Donald's interest in politics grew more serious, and his public statements began to reflect a man preparing for something much larger. Donald had long been outspoken about national issues, often sharing his views on topics like trade, the economy, and foreign relations during interviews and speeches. His critiques of American leadership were sharp, and he frequently highlighted his belief that his business acumen could be applied to governing. Donald's straightforward and unapologetic style resonated with certain segments of the population who saw him as a voice of common sense amid political rhetoric. In 2015, Donald made the bold decision to enter the race for the presidency of the United States. His campaign announcement was unconventional, delivered at Trump Tower in New York City, where he descended an escalator to a cheering crowd. His speech was fiery and direct, focusing on themes of national pride, economic reform, and immigration control. Donald's slogan, "Make America Great Again," captured the attention of millions and became a rallying cry for his supporters. From the outset, Donald's campaign broke all traditional rules of politics. He relied heavily on his ability to dominate the media, using his celebrity status and social platforms to reach voters directly. His approach was polarizing. While some admired his unfiltered authenticity, others criticized his rhetoric as divisive. Nonetheless, his message resonated with a significant portion of the electorate who felt overlooked by the political establishment. As the Republican primaries unfolded, Donald's candidacy gained momentum. His debates were marked by sharp exchanges, bold statements, and a refusal to back down from confrontation. He presented himself as an outsider, a businessman who could bring fresh ideas to Washington. Despite facing seasoned politicians with decades of experience, Donald emerged as the Republican nominee in 2016, defying the expectations of political analysts and critics alike. The general election pitted Donald against Hillary Clinton, a former Secretary of State with a long political career. The campaign was one of the most contentious in modern history, marked by intense debates, controversies, and a deeply divided electorate. Donald's strategy focused on appealing to voters who felt disillusioned with traditional politics. He promised to bring jobs back to America, renegotiate trade deals, and secure the nation's borders. His rallies drew massive crowds, and his direct communication style continued to dominate headlines. On November 8, 2016, Donald Trump achieved what many had deemed impossible. He won the presidency. His victory was secured through the Electoral College, despite losing the popular vote. The result sent shockwaves through the political world, as Donald became the 45th President of the United States. A businessman with no prior political experience now held the highest office in the country. Donald's unexpected journey to the presidency marked a new chapter in his life, filled with both opportunities and challenges. How would a man known for his success in business and entertainment adapt to the complexities of leading a nation? The answer would unfold during the tumultuous years of his presidency. On January 20th, 2017, Donald Trump was inaugurated as the 45th President of the United States. His journey from businessman and media personality to leader of the free world was unprecedented, and his presidency quickly became one of the most debated and analyzed in modern history. From the outset, Donald sought to govern with the same boldness and determination that had defined his career in business. His administration focused on delivering on the promises he had made during the campaign, with a particular emphasis on economic growth, immigration reform, and reshaping America's role on the global stage. One of Donald's first major actions as president was implementing tax reforms aimed at stimulating the economy. He argued that reducing corporate taxes would encourage businesses to invest in the United States, create jobs, and strengthen the nation's financial foundation. Supporters of these policies praised the economic growth that followed, citing job creation and increased consumer confidence. Critics, however, questioned the long-term effects of the tax cuts, especially on the national deficit. Immigration was another cornerstone of Donald's presidency. He initiated efforts to strengthen border security, including the construction of a wall along the U.S.-Mexico border, a key promise of his campaign. His administration also introduced stricter immigration policies, which sparked both praise and controversy. Supporters viewed these measures as necessary steps to protect national security, while opponents criticized them as divisive and harmful to immigrant communities. Donald's approach to foreign policy was marked by direct negotiations and a willingness to challenge long-standing norms. He met with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, becoming the first sitting U.S. president to step into North Korea. These meetings, while historic, yielded mixed results in terms of reducing nuclear tensions. Donald also took a tough stance on trade, imposing tariffs on countries like China to address trade imbalances and promote American manufacturing. His supporters saw these moves as bold and necessary, while critics warned of potential economic fallout. Healthcare reform was another significant focus of Donald's presidency. He aimed to dismantle the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare, and replace it with a system that he argued would be more cost-effective and efficient. However, these efforts faced considerable opposition in Congress, leading to a mix of successes and setbacks in achieving his healthcare goals. Donald's presidency was not without controversy. In 2019, he became the third president in U.S. history to be impeached by the House of Representatives. The charges related to allegations of abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. However, the Senate acquitted him, allowing him to remain in office. The impeachment process further polarized public opinion, with some viewing it as a justified action and others as politically motivated. As the 2020 presidential election approached, Donald faced a new challenge: the global COVID-19 pandemic. The crisis tested his administration's ability to manage a public health emergency while maintaining economic stability. His handling of the pandemic drew both praise and criticism, with debates over measures like lockdowns, vaccine distribution, and federal versus state responsibilities dominating the political landscape. Despite the challenges and controversies, Donald's presidency left an indelible mark on the nation. His unconventional style, direct communication, and focus on America's interests reshaped the political conversation in ways that continue to resonate. For his supporters, he represented a break from traditional politics and a champion of the people. For his critics, his tenure highlighted deep divisions within the country. Quick pause. Have you thought about how these stories are impacting your learning journey? What if you could supercharge that with a method that truly works? English Express is here to help you unlock English in a practical and fun way. Check the first pinned comment and start today. As Donald prepared to campaign for a second term, the stage was set for another historic chapter in his life, one that would test his resilience and influence in the face of changing political tides. As Donald Trump's first term as president drew to a close, the stage was set for one of the most intense and polarizing elections in American history. Facing former Vice President Joe Biden, Donald sought to secure a second term by focusing on his administration's achievements and rallying his loyal base. The campaign was marked by fierce debates, a deeply divided electorate, and the unprecedented challenges of a global pandemic. Donald emphasized his economic policies, which he argued had created jobs and strengthened the U.S. economy before the COVID-19 pandemic. He also highlighted his administration's efforts in deregulation, foreign policy, and judicial appointments, including the confirmation of 3 Supreme Court justices. His rallies, often held in person despite the pandemic, drew large crowds and showcased his ability to energize his supporters. However, the election was overshadowed by the ongoing pandemic, which had drastically altered daily life for millions of Americans. Donald's handling of the crisis became a central issue, with critics pointing to a perceived lack of coordination and downplaying of the virus's severity. Supporters, on the other hand, praised his efforts to accelerate vaccine development and keep the economy open. On November 3, 2020, Americans went to the polls, and the results revealed a deeply divided nation. While Donald received over 74 million votes, Joe Biden secured more than 81 million votes, winning both the popular vote and the Electoral College. Donald and his supporters disputed the results, citing allegations of fraud and irregularities. These claims led to a series of legal challenges and heightened tensions across the country. The situation escalated on January 6, 2021, when a group of Donald supporters stormed the U.S. Capitol during the certification of the Electoral College results. The incident, which resulted in deaths and injuries, was widely condemned and became a defining moment of Donald's presidency. In the aftermath, the House of Representatives impeached Donald for a second time, making him the only U.S. president to be impeached twice. The Senate, however, acquitted him once again. On January 20, 2021, Donald Trump left the White House as Joe Biden was inaugurated as the 46th President of the United States. Unlike his predecessors, Donald chose not to attend the inauguration, breaking a long-standing tradition. Instead, he returned to his residence in Florida, where he began to regroup and plan his next steps. Even after leaving office, Donald remained a dominant figure in American politics. He continued to influence the Republican Party and hinted at a possible run for the presidency in 2024. His supporters remained loyal, viewing him as a champion of their values and interests. Meanwhile, his critics called for accountability and a shift away from the divisive rhetoric that had defined his presidency. What would Donald's next move be? Would he re-enter the political arena, or would he focus on his business and personal life? The answers were yet to come, but one thing was certain. Donald Trump's story was far from over, and his influence on American politics and culture would continue to shape the nation's future. Donald Trump's journey from a young boy in Queens to a global icon of business, television, and politics is nothing short of remarkable. His life has been a blend of ambition, resilience, and controversy, filled with highs and lows that have shaped his legacy. Whether as a real estate mogul, reality TV star, or President of the United States, Donald has consistently demonstrated his ability to capture attention and defy expectations. Today, Donald remains an influential figure with millions of supporters and detractors around the world. His impact on business practices, media, and politics continues to spark debates and discussions. Whether one views him as a transformative leader or a polarizing figure, it's undeniable that his story has left a lasting mark on history. As Donald explores the possibility of a political comeback or focuses on expanding his brand, his legacy evolves. He is a testament to the power of ambition and the ability to navigate challenges even in the face of adversity. His name, synonymous with luxury and boldness, continues to resonate in various spheres, from business to politics. What lies ahead for Donald Trump? Will he re-enter the political stage, or will he chart a new course that surprises the world yet again? The next chapters of his life remain unwritten, promising more twists and turns in a story that has captivated millions. Thank you for joining us on this journey through Donald Trump's fascinating life. If you enjoyed this story and want to discover more while improving your English, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Each story is crafted to inspire and help you grow. Hit that subscribe button and stay connected for more amazing content.